terminology is one of the most powerful, non-rational agents that affects people's emotional mindset. And make no mistake, people's opinions and positions about Israel and their general ideology when relating to this conflict are not purely rational. That's because we know everybody is non-rational in general, not just when it comes to politics. So when we use a specific word, assassination, freedom fighters versus terrorists, the words themselves create some kind of mental or emotional infrastructure based on which the person has to build his or her opinion. And so if you overlook the terms people are using and dive straight into the discussion over the ideology itself, you are overlooking a major obstacle that somebody may have put in your place, and an obstacle that will prevent your audience from relating to you. This principle talks about the need to negotiate terminology before negotiating ideology. What do I mean? Imagine somebody comes up to you and says, listen, you know, I want you to explain to me how you can justify Israel's right to build an apartheid wall enclosing the Palestinians in inhumane ghettos. And let's assume for a minute that you don't agree with this statement, that it's not true that we're enclosing them in ghettos, that it's not true that the wall is illegal. Should you discuss it? Should you try to explain to the person what are the justifications for building this wall? Or, and this is our recommendation to you, should you begin the discussion, or at least your response to these statements, by questioning the very terms that the person chose to use? For example, sir, before I actually explain to you why I support the Israeli security fence, with your permission, I'd like to start this conversation one step earlier. You called it a wall, and you actually called it an apartheid wall, or a separation wall. And I'm curious to know why you chose to use those words. Primarily because I don't believe this warrants the term apartheid, and I'll be happy to explain why. And second of all, because I happen to know that the Israeli security fence is mostly consistent of a fence, not of a wall. I mean, I know about 4 to 5% is concrete wall, but everything else is a fence. Why did you call it a wall? Now, it may appear that we're sidetracking or avoiding the issue,